Let's apply to Portland Community College. We'll start on the Oregon Goes to College website, and from the College Info menu tab, choose Apply to College. That takes us to a page that has a lot of really good information about things that we can do to get ready to apply, including a list of documents or materials that we might need to gather in order to fill out the application, and some tips for filling out those forms successfully. I know that I'm planning to apply to PCC today, and I've gathered all of my materials, and so I'm going to scroll down to the table that has a list of all of the colleges and universities in the state and find Portland Community College. Clicking on this link takes me directly to PCC's website and to the page that starts the application process. And so I can see that there are some steps for new students, the first of which is apply now. I'm going to make a note that there are some additional things that I'm going to need to do in order to be a student at PCC, but today our one concern and thing that we're planning to do is apply. So I'll go ahead and click on the Apply Now button. And it's going to ask me to select the type of application, and it gives me a really big hint to read this first. And it's telling me here that I need to make sure that what I'm providing on this form is complete and true. And I have a few different options of the type of application that I can complete. I'm choosing to enroll as a first-year student after I graduate from high school this spring, and I want to earn a degree or certificate, so I'm going to apply as a credit student. And now I have the option. I need to start the application process by creating my account. I don't have one yet, so I will go ahead and create my account. So I'll start by providing my legal first name. So this is the name that is on my legal documents, like my high school transcript or my driver's license if I have one. But just in this case, I want to make sure that I'm providing my legal first and last name. And my email address, that is the email that I'm using for all of my college and scholarship information, and that I am checking at least twice a week. And I need to create a password, so I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to make sure that I write that password down in a safe place so that I don't forget it. I am currently attending high school, and I plan to start PCC in the fall of 2021. So I'm graduating in the spring of 2021 and want to graduate the fall following that. And I'll go ahead and submit. And what's happening now is that it is creating my account, and I noticed that I just got an email and I'm guessing it might be from PCC. Yep. It lets me know that my admissions account is created, and it lets me know how to log in, what my username is, and then of course I've written down my password so that I'm able to use that in the future. Let's go back to working on our application, and it tells me my next step is to fill out my profile. And again, they've already entered some of the information that I've provided for them, but I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest. Now, I am going to make a note that questions that have a red asterisk or star are required, and I won't be able to move on in the application without completing them. There are several questions that don't have that star, and so I don't have to provide that information, but in some cases it may actually be useful for me to do so. So we'll talk about that as we go. So again, if I hadn't provided my legal first name here, I would switch and put that here, but I did. I have a middle name, and the initial is a C. My last name is correct. I do have a preferred first name. So this is my opportunity to say, you know, I prefer that people call me Livy. That's what I want you to do. So I provide that there so that the college can use that in further communication with me. Previous names is about if you have a different first or last name. So there are some common reasons that that might happen. Marriage is probably the most common in our society, but things like adoption or just using other names legally, you'll want to provide those there. I don't have that, so I'm going to leave it blank. Gender pronoun, this is another optional field, and so I don't have to choose to do this, but if I do choose to, I can select whichever pronouns I identify with, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you can choose to do that or not, and then provide your birth date. Now here I can either type it in using the month, day, and year format, or I could scroll through the calendar to try to find that. So let's look at how that would work. I'm going to go back to the year I was born and the month, and I was born on the 1st, so a Wednesday, and there we go, and move on. This international student information is asking if I'm an international student. Now, it's important to read through these questions or descriptions because it'll let you know who PCC is considering an international student and who isn't. And different colleges have different definitions for this in the application process, specifically related to those who are maybe dreamers or otherwise undocumented. So in this case, at PCC, if you are a citizen, a permanent resident, a refugee, a dreamer, or any other visa status than an F1 visa, then you will say, no, I am not an international student. And now they are asking for a social security number. So students who have a social security number, you are not required to provide it, and you are not required to have one to attend PCC. However, if you have one and you are applying for federal financial aid, providing that number now is useful and helpful to getting all of your documents connected with each other to make it possible for you to access the aid that you're eligible for. So if you have a social security number and you're applying for federal financial aid, entering your social security number now is the best advice that I can give you. Then you can go ahead and answer questions about race and ethnicity. And so you don't have to answer these questions, but you can choose to do so, and I am going to do the same. And then there are some questions about gender identity and sexual orientation, and there is a note that PCC is required to ask these questions, but you don't have to answer them if you don't want to, and if you do, it will be kept confidential. You can also click on a link to learn a little bit more about why they're asking this. And so you have the option, so they're asking about gender assigned at birth, and so you can make your choice there, or again, leave it blank if you'd like. What your current gender identity is. You can choose additional options from here, and then also they're interested in you providing information about your sexual orientation should you choose to do so. The next section is about whether or not you have a non-immigrant visa, and there's a whole list of the different types of visas they are. So if you are not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and you're living in the U.S. on a temporary basis, and you hold a visa, you can choose which one is right for you. If you don't have that, you can go ahead and skip this question. Address information. I'm going to go ahead and enter my address here. The second line of an address is a great place to put your apartment number if you have one. If you have an additional bit of information about your street or apartment address, you can put that in the third line. Country is coming next in this list, and so going to scroll down to find United States. And the city that I live in, bad typing today, the state, and my zip code. My email address is the one that I already provided, and it's letting me know that if what I gave them before was a parent or somebody else's email address that is not my own, that I should change it. I gave my own, so I'm going to leave it, and I can provide my phone number here as well. They're interested in knowing whether or not it's okay to text me, and the answer for that is yes. The reason that a college may want to know if they can text me is so that they can send me information about my application, reminders, or deadline information, or anything else that might be happening on campus that would be of interest to me. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and you can make the choice that makes sense for you. And I'll save and continue. If your internet is a little bit slow, this is what you'll see. It's no big deal. You just keep right on going. Next set of questions, you can see on the left now there is a list of all of the different things that we'll be asked to talk about or to share information about, and we've completed, you can see there's a very faint check mark. We've completed the My Profile section and we're on to enrollment questions. And so the first is, when do I want to start classes? And I did already mention that once earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and provide that information again here, that I want to start in the fall of 2021. What am I interested in studying? I have a lot of different interests, and so I can scroll down to see all of the different things that are available at PCC. It's a fairly long list. And I have so many interests that I'm just not quite sure. So I'm going to go ahead and say undecided, and that is an acceptable answer. But if you have one or two things that you're particularly interested in, you can go ahead and choose that from this list. It's also giving you a note to let you know that you don't have to stay with that decision if that's what you, if you change your mind as you go. So it's no risk to choose anything here. The certificate that I am interested in, I need to choose here, and there is a note here that is important. There are some that are marked NFA, which means not eligible for financial aid. So just keep an eye on that if financial aid is going to be important to you. There are some, for example, like this one, accounting clerk. This is a not financial aid eligible option. So anyway, you can scroll through and find the pathway or the certificate or the degree that you're interested in. I know that for me, I'm interested in an Associate of Arts degree, and I'm fairly certain that I would like to transfer to a four-year college when I'm done at PCC, so I'm going to choose that. Save and continue. So I finished my enrollment questions and I'm on to academic history. It's wondering, where do I attend, or am I currently attending high school? Yes. And am I going to attend classes at PCC while I'm in high school? And the answer is no. So because I'm applying for after I graduate, and I can start entering my high school here. And this is it, Corvallis High School in Corvallis, Oregon. I'll go ahead and say yes. If my high school didn't show up, I could click this box that said school not found, and it would then ask me to provide information about my high school. But mine was found, so I'll keep that unchecked. I now need to enter it again. No big deal. And move on. When I graduate, I will have received a high school diploma. So this is a question about what I will receive, and they want to know my GPA, and they make a note here that GPA is not required for admission, but it will help them to determine what kinds of programs or services might be helpful to me. And I'm expecting to graduate in June of 2021. So this time I just typed those numbers in rather than using the calendar, but of course you could use the calendar if you wanted, and save and continue. Moving on to additional information. Interested in knowing about my future. Will I apply for financial aid? For me, the answer is yes. Choose the one that's right for you. I do not plan to take all of my classes online, but it's good to know that PCC has that as an option. I'm hoping not to take all of my classes online, I should say. And I do think that I would like to plan to transfer to a 4-year college or university. So I'll go ahead and say yes, but you could choose no or undecided if you like. And I don't know what school I'm planning to transfer to, so I'm going to leave that blank. But if you have an idea, you could fill it in. Additional information about me, my current student type, it'll be the first time that I'm enrolling in any college. You'll want to choose the one that's right for you. The highest level of education that I will have when I start at high school is a high school diploma. Questions about whether or not parents have any college degrees is about helping them to know whether or not I'm a first-generation college student. For me, my parent did not earn a 4-year degree, but I do live in Oregon, and I am not a veteran of the military. This question, do I want to withhold my name from military recruiters? So PCC is required, unless you say otherwise, to share your name with military recruiters. And you can tell them, yes, please withhold my name, or no, that's okay, go ahead and share that. And it is required, so you'll need to make a choice. Next question is not required, but is asking about foster care. So you'll want to say yes if you have, no if you haven't, and there are some, there's a little bit of explanation there for how you can make that decision. And one of the reasons that they ask that is because there may be some scholarships or grant money available to you that they could help to connect you with. And I speak English at home, but if you speak another language at home, you'll want to say yes to this question, and they don't ask what language that is. But for me, the answer is no. And save and continue. And now I'm ready to submit. So remember, at the beginning, they told us that whatever we provided here needed to be complete and true and accurate. And this note is reminding us that we also need to agree to any PCC policies and procedures. And so it's a good idea to click on this link and read through that before you submit your application. But here, there are some options. You need to decide, do you agree or do you not agree? And I'll go ahead and say that I do agree to the terms. And then I need to type my full name here. And so again, that's my full legal name. And then when I'm ready, I can submit my application. And when I do that, I've applied to PCC. And when you have done that, you'll have applied to PCC too. Congratulations.